Okay guys, welcome to my Age of Empires 3 single-player skirmish against an expert computer with the Russian Strelet strategy. So the goal of this video is basically to show it was kind of a test to see if I could actually beat the expert computer by myself. And we're going to find out if I could. This is my third attempt of doing this tonight. And so I'm playing on expert against one computer, and the map turns out to be Yukon maybe? You're going to find out in a second. I'm playing on medium speed. And I think I get Isabella, which is British. I didn't really care which one I played. And so let's dive right into it. We're playing the Rockies, sorry. The previous two times I tried this, I played on the Great Plains. I won the first time quite handily. I recorded it the second time. The first time I didn't record it because I just wanted to see if I could even play against them. And I won. I got crushed actually because I got stuck in the second age against the guy got to the fourth age and just annihilated me. So make sure that you get out of the second age with the Russian Strelet strategy, or you're gonna get screwed. You gotta. And I didn't. To be honest with you, I didn't really do a great job of it in this game either. But we're gonna see what happens here. So essentially, you just got your typical opening here with me grabbing food, and it wasn't a perfect opening, as you'll see in a second. I made some mistakes. I decided to pull these guys off gold earlier, and I'm by no means an expert in this game, so don't even try and criticize me for that, because I know I'm not great at this game. So I've got one guy on gold, and the rest of them decided to go for food early. Everything's going great for now, and my exploring is not that great though. I've never been great at exploring for some reason. And then I blotched this. This is where I blotched it. I forgot to build a house. And so that set me back, and I was really frustrated with that because I know that's a pretty basic element that you got to get down, and I just messed it up. So in case you haven't seen how to do the Russian Strelet strategy, I'll be putting a link to that video in the description below, and maybe an annotation or something too, because basically if you haven't seen that, you won't really have a clue what the strategy is behind this. I mean, I could talk about it some in this video, and I'll point out some other hints or stuff that I come up with, or that I see on the screen here. But if you don't know the strategy, then you got to go watch that first. Essentially, you mass-produce Strelets and you don't collect gold, and so it's pretty awesome. It's good times. I had a bit of a fight with a bear here, and so that was kind of funny. An expert wouldn't have had such a bad fight with the bear, but I had there's some interesting moments in this game where I was like, man, I'm just playing so bad. But thankfully I was able to rally the troops near the end. So my first order is always that thing there, whatever you call it. It's a furrier, I think it is. Basically helps your guys gather on, in this case it's ram, but bison or deer or wild turkeys and stuff like that. So I wanted to go for this thing because it was 125 wood, and that's worthwhile fighting for, in my opinion, as opposed to getting like 30 food or something from something, or some of the other ones that are like 30% hit points, and they got really hard defenders on them. I don't even bother going for those ever. At least not when I'm playing multiplayer. So once again, my exploring, I think a real good explorer would have explored farther in the south of the map at this point. As you can see in my map, it's kind of interesting playing on snow, and I don't really know that map this well, so that was kind of another thing I had to get over. And I had a bit of an issue here with my stupid... My bison started going the wrong direction, and then everything just started... I didn't really have a great game, to be honest with you. This wasn't a perfect game. So I've got my population's at 20 of 20, which is, for me, that's the ideal time in which I want to start aging. And it doesn't look like I'm actually aging right now. Yeah, so I'm having some real issues here. Usually when I play Russia, as soon as I get to 20, I've got to have 800 food coming out right away, and for some reason I just messed this up somehow, and I ended up with not having 800 food. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I was very frustrated with that. But I guess my 20 people aren't out yet. As soon as that 20th person comes out, you should be ready to go to the next stage, for sure. I think some players with different civilizations age up at like 14 or 17 population, but I found the most natural to be 20. In my opinion, maybe in the future, if I get really good at this game, some guys will tell me, hey, you probably should only have 14 guys or 17 guys before you age, but I always go 20. It just gives you a good launch point for for the second age, in my opinion. But so here we go. Here I get my second home city upgrade. But I always save my, as I talked about my Strelet strategy, I always save my second upgrade for the second age because I don't really need the food and wood that much. Now the fact that I was upgrading to the next age late, I probably could have taken one of those cards, but still having those 13 Strelets there is just so handy, you know, right off the gate and in the second age for the Russians. I put a house there, and I thought I probably should have put a blockhouse up on that cliff, but in either way. So one of the things you want to do when you're playing expert is you want to have your houses spread across the map, and this serves two purposes. Number one, it allows you to see if he's coming, so you can maybe move your villagers into a safer spot, or move your military guys into position, or make more military guys. And is that two things? Did I just say both the advantages to that? Oh, and yeah, so and also maybe they might attack the house too, which will slow them down because they're stupid like that. Well, the computer's not stupid; it's just rigid in its personality. So the first time I played the expert computer tonight, I attacked him pretty early and lost. And then in the second game, I was pretty confident because I crushed him pretty bad in my first game. So I didn't bother attacking, I just built up my army, built up my economy until he just came charging through with all these guys right around my military units and went straight for my mills, and then I started suffering really bad casualties. So I think when you're playing expert, you have to attack him first. In that way, he will prioritize attacking your military. I think up until that point, up until you attack him, he basically he's programmed to only attack the town center essentially. But then it's overridden by attacks. See, I almost lost my guy right here. This is so scary. He's wandering through here. He's taking one more shot. He's down to like no health. I'm like, oh man, how does he have so many watchtowers up? He probably had 4 or 5 watchtowers right there. So here I'm building forward with my bases on the northwestern side of the map. And you gotta build forward against the expert, and you gotta build forward in general. But I think I'm getting better at this game. And here I hit second age, so now I've got my Strelets coming out and my Hussars coming out. Hussars are not really that useful in the Russian Strelet strategy, but I mean, they're still very useful early game because often people come with infantry, and just to have that extra kick with some horses helps when you don't have the overwhelming Strelet numbers that you'll have later. So, housing problems, and as you can see I'm having a big food crisis. I only have 3 people on food right now because I'm transitioning between herds, and I just had a bunch of blotched transitions in this game, and I really wish I could have them back, because I know I can execute a transition better than what I did, and it really got ugly. It really did. There's some interesting battles coming up here, and we'll have to keep an eye on them. Sorry if I'm talking really fast, but it's a fast game. You know, there's lots going on, lots to talk about. As far as Indian reserves go, I never really go for Indian reserves. They're very useful, but I don't have the gold to do it usually with this strategy. And usually I don't have the wood either, for that matter, or the food. But even if you just get them for the upgrades, they're often quite useful. Often they'll provide you with maybe you won't have to spend so much gold or whatever. So it's always good. And so as you can see, I have a large military. You know, I've got quite a substantial military, but my economy, I've only got 13 people on food and 8 on wood. That's not good enough to be able to wage a war. But I decided at this point that I was going to do what I did in the first game and attack first, because I think that basically changes the computer's algorithm or whatever. So he decides he's going to attack your military units instead of your economy, which is critical to winning. So I saw some villagers starting to run away from that herd, and then I started attacking this mill. I walked in perfectly on this mill too, like uncontested, I guess you could say. Here comes the Hussars in too. As you'll see in this battle, the Hussars actually do last for quite some time. And I'm building actually now in the southeast as well, because I realized that his base is not directly across the canyon from mine. It's actually kitty corner, so I got to make sure that my backside, my right side, is protected by units or by blockhouses or whichever you want. So the economy's still not that strong yet, but we're working on it. And what else is going on here? Yeah, so now he's starting to bring his military units over, and I was actually really impressed with how bad his fight went here. Like, I thought for sure that he was going to just annihilate my first wave, but it took a long time. As you can see, they're holding their own quite well. And he sent some units in from a different direction there, which I was kind of surprised by, which made me concerned because I thought maybe he had a forward base that I didn't know about yet. Because I kind of walked right through there and didn't see anything. So yeah, he definitely seems to have a base up to the north of where we're looking now. But I was never able to find it. I don't know what happened to it. And yeah, these guys, I just put them on food, or on the wood there. That's important, just to keep your guys forward. And yeah, a lot of these upgrades are very important that you get them early. Like anything that upgrades your mill or your wood gathering and stuff like that. Here I finally lose out, but by then I've done my fair share of making him spend his money on military units, and I didn't think I was going to last half that long. So that was pretty successful. And I never really got to a point really where I felt like I had an unstoppable economy, and that was disappointing. Because that's really, once you can feel that in the game, you're set. Like, I don't know what happened. I think my cards are not good enough yet. I'm not actually using my... This is just, there's kind of 3 different types of home cities, kind of like, there's the ESO multiplayer one, which is my best. I've got like an 85 level Russian there, so I've got like all the cards and like a perfect deck for the Strelets. This one's for just like the campaign and like single player skirmishes and stuff. So I think I've only got like a level 18 or something. And then there's Game Ranger, which might actually use the same one, but I can't confirm that. And so I sent another wave here. And so like this is only like a level 18 Russian team, so it's nothing like you can almost have the same cards as what I had. So once again, I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna keep on attacking these villagers on the mills if they'll let me. As you can see, we're excuse me, we're in a pretty even fight right there with those guys down there, but I think they overwhelmed me. But to be honest with you, with the Strelet strategy, you don't want to even be concerned about losing the fight, and apparently I'm actually going to win it. I don't even remember winning that fight. Now another thing you should be concerned about, I should have market up earlier. I've been neglecting to do that recently when I've been playing. Market should really go up as soon as you're in the second age, probably, because it basically means, like, if you get a 15% food or wood upgrade, it basically gives you 15% more villagers in a sense. So as you can see, I fought off the first wave of military guys, and not only that, but I've now prevented his gatherers from getting any more food, unless, like, here they come back, because they think that I don't know why they came back. So now he's either got to build a new mill for 400 wood, which is very expensive at this time of the game, or he's got to go and expose himself to a new herd. And as I was going to say earlier, one of the things you really want to do is make sure your herds are like in a safe spot. And I didn't really do a good job of shooting my herds back because I was very confident in my military to be able to keep the pressure on. But I think at this point of the game I fell into a rut where I started to lose control of the battle. My score right now is almost at 100 and he's at 172. I really struggled. As you can see, I'm kind of transitioning from herds to mills, and I still don't have that down as crisp as I would like it to be. It's still very awkward for me. And and another thing to add to that, I also had food here sitting here, but for some stupid reason. But to add to that, I didn't do a good job with my home city upgrades of upgrading my mills. Like there, I have a mill upgrade, and I didn't click on it for too long. Instead, I did this military speed one, which is okay, but I don't have any military units to pump out right now because my economy's not good. So before you start having a strong military, you have to have a strong economy. As you know, you'll find out if you don't already know that. Especially with this strategy, because you're going to be pumping out so many. Like by far your biggest expenditure is military units. I think at the end of the game I produced almost 500 Strelets. I know there's other games which I played online which I've used well over 1,000 Strelets. I've even played a game where I had 1,000, maybe 1,200 deaths, Strelet deaths. I don't think I won that game because by the time you get that many deaths with the Strelets, it probably means you're in like the 5th age, and you're just like, there's no way you can win at that point, in my opinion. And by then it just turns into a complete grind, basically. So here, just keep on pumping out more houses. There's so many things you gotta do in this game with all the upgrades. Like, you gotta upgrade your mills like every time. You gotta do this railway thing constantly. There's so many upgrades you have to do, and in order to have a good economy, you have to do it. So that's one thing the computer doesn't do very well, in my opinion, is they don't use the trade posts, which I don't understand until later on in the game. I definitely think it's worth it. I mean, you get, I think, 60 gold at this point of the game. Maybe you get more. You get more later on, but still, I mean, 60 gold will pay for itself pretty quickly. So here comes a small raiding party. I decided to cut them off before they decided to go and raid my villagers. And the thing is, like, it looks like it's going to be a pretty fair fight there, but as I can keep on pushing out more units, which I think I'll do in a second here, it just becomes kind of unfair, in a sense. Actually, yeah, so I might have already had that second wave's already come out. Here comes the third wave. You know, he's going to keep them coming out. So, pop for economy size, it looks like I'm at 20 and 26. So, again, it's lopsided because it's very easy to go heavy on wood, and you need to, because here I decide to finally get this upgrade, which I should have got earlier, which will mean I don't have to put so many people on wood, essentially. Or if I do keep the same amount, they'll be more efficient. And at this point, I realized he probably has a fort down here because I haven't found his fort yet. It's one thing that the computer always builds as a fort in the 3rd age right away. You can usually expect it to be basically halfway across the map. The problem with my second game against the computer was he actually put his fort... Well, the problem was he rushed with his army behind my military guys. So my military guys had to retreat to defend my mills and stuff, and then he landed a fort right next to my forward base, and he got it up basically by the time I dealt with protecting my mills. So I had to spend, you know, so much of my economy on taking down that fort. It just slaughtered me. It just to take down a building, you know, that was in a terrible spot. So that's why I lost the game, because it just crushed me doing that. So, you know, I've got 3 mills working, 10 guys on each, so as you can see, it looks pretty sick, I'd say anyway. It looks like it's a little past the growing season, but they don't seem to care. So, at this point, I'm just trying to age up, and right here, I'm just waiting. Like, I did too much waiting in this game, trying to, like, I don't know. Yeah, I always go Strelets because I'm too hardcore to do anything else. I just did too much waiting at the middle point of this game. I'm at a score of 150 now, and he's at 240. Comes my fourth mill, and I just realized I've got to update this thing too, which is kind of silly. That actually scared me when she said that because of what happened in the second game that I played with against the computer. That computer's destroyed me. And see, at this point of the game, I'm just really stuck. I'm like, my economy's not strong enough yet. Like I've got 30 guys on food and 19 on wood, but we're not getting the job done quickly enough here. Like, we're not mass producing yet. But the thing that really made me happy though was that I didn't get caught in the 2nd age with the computer in the 4th age, because if that happens, you are done. Because their falconets, especially again, I mean, even if you're not playing with the Russians, if you're playing with some other team, you're probably going to lose, because their military units will just slaughter yours. Like, they'll send their upgraded falconets. I think they're called Chilverins, maybe, when they get upgraded. They'll just kill you. Maybe they're not called Chilverins, actually. Maybe Chilverins are those... Man, I'm sounding like a noob now. So yeah, another thing you need to learn how to do is your market. Your market is actually one of your best friends. So make sure that you, like, constantly are checking to see, do I really need to have this much gold? Like, the only reason why you want to have gold is if you're going to do an upgrade soon. So right now I'm keeping 200 gold in the bank because I've got to do the Strelet upgrade for 200 wood and 200 food. so I'm just keeping it in the bank there. And I think I've got both my train things now on. There I go. There I go. Finally go to the third age. At what looks to be 18 minutes into the game. So as you can see, I'm starting to pump out quite a lot of Strelets here, and they're getting upgraded, which is great news. And I'm actually just there was a bunch of villagers who are getting food, and I just took a bunch of them out, so that felt really good. So I've got the kind of an economy going here, to be honest with you, but I don't have the population room. I haven't built enough houses yet, and I still need to get this upgrade. But as you can see, I'm starting to get things clicking. You can see my click rates increasing. So gotta get this girl to build me houses. I'm getting attacked up here. I'm like, ah, darn it. But I'm glad. See, I'm glad they are attacking my houses and not driving towards my mills. Because as soon as the enemy starts attacking your villagers, the game just goes downhill so fast. So at this point, I'm just like trying to get through to his fort, and I wasn't really sure. I was almost ready to back off here because I thought I was going to get just blown out, but it looked like the tide was finally turning. And you'll be surprised that it actually comes. It did take a while for it to come down, but eventually the Strelets they get her to come down. So at this point, I said, okay, I got to build another market because I'm going to lose that one. That was a really good choice by me because you always need a market. Look at those mills; they look so sick. I love building mills. And so now we're just going to keep on sending in more troops to the front. I think at some point here I start dealing with this attitude. I don't want any more of that going on. But for now, see, I'm clicking on this thing. I'm like, man, I'm just getting slaughtered here. That thing's almost at like 75-80% still. I gotta take this thing down. I'm just getting embarrassed. And so as you can see, like I'm spending all of my hard-earned resources on my military at this point, and not upgrading my economy. And I just decided to build another house up there because it just figured it'd be one more thing for them to attack. And as opposed to just running in and taking me out. So yeah, we're up to 34 people on food, 17 on wood. At this point of the game, as soon as this came down, when I looked back on this and saw it was only 20%, I was really happy. That made me pretty happy. And I think I could have built my blockhouses more forward, but I didn't. So that's something I could have done. Here I finally say, okay, quit taking my houses and teach a lesson. And yeah, one thing you really got to be concerned about is falconets against the Russians, because they just tear you apart. So something you're going to want to do, and which I should have done already. But there's so many things I should have done already in this game. Like I probably should have upgraded my mills, but I don't think I have yet. And we're trying to take this guy out. And I should have also upgraded my railway tracks probably, which I may have done already, but I may not have assigned them to gold. And but you need to do your barrack upgrade. So here I get a great opportunity to take out some villagers because the computer's being dumb and not retreating them. And there's not that many of them, I guess. I thought there was more than that. But anytime you get to kill villagers, it's a statement, and it's a morale killer. Here I just move some houses closer just because I can. Horses and artillery are not your friends in this game when you're the Russians. That's not what you want to see. Here, since I've already got the space over here, I say, oh, we might as well just pull the guys out of that eastern side. And here I decide to build a church, which the church really isn't that useful till the 4th age because yeah, and at this point I didn't really know what to take from the home city. The church really isn't that useful to the Russians until the 4th age because that's when you get your speed upgrades, your speed production upgrades, and here's where I start to take over this game actually. Yeah, at this point I was just like, I've got all these units. At any point in which you realize you have too many units, like just doing nothing, and you're ready to go for a romp, just go for a romp. Just walk in there and say, try and stop us. I think that's one of the most awesome things about being the Russians, is just this feeling of being relentless and overwhelming the enemy. It's one of my favorite things. So yeah, doing some more upgrades. I should have had all these upgrades in earlier. Just keep on pumping out villagers, just like you should. More houses until we get up to 200. And just keep throwing guys in there. You know, they're gonna die. Who cares? These guys don't care. They die for their country all the time. And once again, I should have moved a blockhouse up there earlier. I didn't really know if it was gonna be safe though, to be honest with you, because I thought it might not be safe. I think I'm going to do some military upgrades here. Oh, I couldn't quite afford that one because that was embarrassing. And I'm going to do some trading here. Oh, maybe not. That's when I realized I lost my old market and I got my new one here. So I do some trading, start buying up some stuff, checking on my guys, see how the attack's going. And you'll notice that I don't really pay any attention to the attack when it's happening. I mean, you basically just throw your guys in there and let them go nuts. Like, as far as, you know, you don't really care about what happens to them. I mean, I suppose you could sit there and watch them and hope they fight the artillery. You know, they all pick on the one artillery and take them out before it takes out too many of them, but it's strength in numbers and not really the quality of the player. You know, what's going to help you is bringing in more units quickly and keeping your economy going during a fight. The fact that I'm fighting in his home base is devastating enough. Like, he's never going to be able to recover from this. And yeah, these guys just decide to go up the really hard part of the hill, but whatever. As you can see, like, I don't know how we're doing this well. I mean, these are just third-age Strelets that don't really have any barrack upgrades. And, or artillery, what, barrack? Arsenal upgrade. No, arsenal? I can't remember what it's called. And here I finally decide at 25 minutes into the game almost to build forward with my blockhouse. Once that happens, she's a game. It's over. And I'm still pumping out more villagers. I've now got 41 on food and 22 on wood. So that's a pretty sizable economy. But I don't know, if you had 50 on food and 25 on wood, you'd probably be set. You probably only, yeah, maybe 50 on food and 20 on wood. I don't have it down to a science yet, but you'll know when your economy is in good shape. Just keep on on. And here I decide, well, we might as well build some more trade post stuff because they're always helpful. And here, I mean, we're still going. Like, we're facing some military resistance, but you know, the guys just keep coming. Here comes another 20. But as you can see, like, it's not to the point where it's like I'm sending in like 40 at a time. Like, here I decided, well, I might as well just flank with these guys because I usually don't recommend flanking with Russians, but this game was already over and in the bag. As a primary assault, you don't want to flank because Strelets need as many numbers as they can. But on that side, I just wanted to prevent any villagers from running away, and I knew his military guys would be focused on the majority of my army, which was just crushing him right now. Here I was looking to place another thing somewhere, but I couldn't really find a place, and I accidentally put it at the bottom of the hill. I think that's at the bottom of the hill. Is it? No, it's actually not at the bottom of the hill. I always thought it was, but I guess it's not. And as you can see, like, one of the upgrades that you'll get at level 25 is called something. I can't remember what it's called. It's just got some burning houses on it. It's called Ransack, maybe? Maybe not. And it increases the damage done to buildings, which is actually a really helpful upgrade for the Russians because we would have had this game earlier in the bag, I think, had been able to take down buildings faster. And here I've just got some musketeers just because I had to use my order on something. And I decided to build a town center just because it can. And here, now we're building right nice and forward, and they're just getting crushed at this point. So once you get to the point where you are basically at 200 population, and all you have to do is sit there and watch your map to see if you can, like, as soon as your population drops to 190, you can click on another building and build some more. You know, build 10 more guys. So, like, we're taking some pretty good casualties in here. But we have both sides surrounded. The game's actually almost over. And spoiler alert, I win. Thankfully, I wouldn't upload it if I lost. I would have been. It was a pretty embarrassing game, the one I lost back there. Maybe I should upload a loss sometime. And this is like too little, too late with those two upgrades, but it was good times. So we're at 94 population right now. You could probably build some musketeers to fill in the last 6% or whatever, but here I'm just deleting forward. Because you always want to build forward, and then I just like, oh, I don't have a place to put this because I haven't taken it as town center yet. And I was like, I don't want to put it over there because you'll have to walk all the way around. So I didn't really have a place to put this. And by this point, the game's almost over. I was like, oh, come on, find a place to put this thing. By this point, I realized I spent too much time on it. And then we brought the military units up. And we decided, let's go crush somebody again. What else can be said of this battle? I mean, I've got a thing from the home city, but at this point you're just concentrating on just crushing them. Just crushing them. And the game's going to wrap up here pretty soon, thankfully. It actually went pretty well. There was quite a few hiccups in the middle where I really wanted to have a much smoother transition, but I didn't, so that was disappointing. But all in all, that's a good example of the Strelets versus the expert level computer. She resigned. I accepted her surrender. Victory was mine, or yours, or ours, or whoever's. And as you can see, I just want to highlight there's 50 Strelets there. There's another 25, 26 of them there. And then another 13 of them there, and a Falcon and 9 Musketeers. So quite a substantial army, taking them out. With I only got to the 3rd age. They only got to the 4th age, barely. I think I started my attack just as they hit the 4th age, so I don't think they were really able to do much upgrades, which is good, which is very good. Had I got there before they clicked the upgrade button, it would have been an even easier victory, probably. So here we'll look at some statistics so you can get a good idea of how it went. As you can see, I won food and wood, which is obviously, if you don't win food and wood, then you suck at this game. I didn't win wood very much, though, admittedly. And coin, I only collected 1,800 coin because that all came from my railway system. And I spent a bunch on units, as expected. But it was a good game. It was a good battle. And here's the really interesting stuff: is where you see I killed 275 units and I lost 383. So and I had 467 total units. So my kill-death ratio is pretty bad, but the overwhelming factor just gets them. And there you can see I exploded. So villager count. Once again, I'll talk, as you'll see, I'm highlighting there. The 2nd age, I had a problem with building villagers, and then the 3rd age, I also stopped building villagers. So that was an error. My attack line should have been something like this, or my villager line, but it wasn't. I blew that up. That was a mistake. It was a bad mistake. What else we got here? Yeah, military population. You want to get your military population going up around 7 minutes. At that point, the computer will be afraid to attack you. The computer knows what you're doing, let's be honest. And then you just got to take it up and just keep on making sure your economy is supported as your military is supported. And food total just took off. He actually stayed with me pretty good. Wood total was taking off, but his wood total was actually would have been a lot better than mine. I think that's because Britain's really good with wood, and coin. It's just from that stuff. Shipments is almost irrelevant. And I think I looked at one more thing. Oh, idle villagers here just for kicks. And whoop-de-doo, wow, that's surprising. 51 Queen Elizabeth idle villagers. I don't know how the computer has 51 idle villagers, but they did. And so there's military. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Hit the like button if you liked it, you know.